Welcome to episode 2 of the Be Well Now Method podcast. This is a podcast where you not only hear from experts about how to improve your health and well-being, but you learn how to self-coach yourself to make all this work for you, to personalize it. So we use the Be Well Now method to do this. So you're not just getting information, you are learning from what only you know inside to apply this information to you. In this episode, we will upgrade your exercise mindset before you exercise. So when you start, you're not in the stress state, but you're in the well state. As I'll explain later, your exercise mindset changes what you get from it. So even if you're not exercising and you think of exercising as a big should or a task, or it's just this stressful thing that hangs over your head, it could be negatively impacting your health, even if you're not exercising. So let's start exercising in a way that puts you in the best position to get everything that you want from it before you even start. We'll start with a Be Well Now meditation. This is a mindful movement meditation that ensures that you start listening to this podcast in the well state, because that's where your brain and body can take in this information and turn it into healthy habits. So mindfulness and movement are the complete antidote to the stress state. There's more about that in a link in the show notes. But let's start with this Be Well Now meditation, and then we'll dive in to rearranging and upgrading your exercise mindset to ensure that you have a strong foundation of starting well so that you stay well. And so I invite you to close your eyes, and if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just look down at the ground and find something to focus on. But the idea is to bring your attention to the present moment and just simply notice what's here. Notice what's happening inside you right now. Notice how your body feels. Notice any thoughts, emotions. Just kind of notice what's here now. You might also include what's in your environment, sounds and smells, and the sense of being in the room that you're in. Just simply notice where you are. And this is presence. This is just coming into presence. Let your body find a position that lets you be present. So finding a position where your body can hold you with ease. It feels like your bones are holding you and your muscles don't have to do as much work. From your feet to your hips, your spine to your head feels weightless, so that you're embodying presence in this natural alignment. And then feel your breath moving in and out. This breath is evidence that your body is taking care of you even without you having to do anything at all. And so let that breath remind you to meet yourself where you are with kindness. So if you're noticing things in your body or a busy brain or lots of emotions going on, then you can trust that everything that's happening here now is here to take care of you. So rest in this presence with kindness in this B step of the meditation. Feeling your body holding you, feeling your breath taking care of you, and meeting yourself exactly where you are right now. While your attention is on your breath, let it guide your awareness to your center. This is where you know things that nobody else knows about you. This is where you know what's most important to you, what you value. And this sense of knowing inside is your well center. So just simply notice this space inside. You might add a little support right around your center from those muscles in your center. And then expand that awareness to your whole body, noticing what would like to move. Maybe your hands and your feet. If you have a lot of stress tension going on, you might do a big stretch. Or if you're feeling a little low energy, you might just let your body flow with movement and your breath. The beautiful part about this is that you can't get it wrong. You're just letting your body move with present moment attention, noticing what feels good, like your body's saying thank you. If your body says no thank you, simply move kindly past that into something that does feel good. So it might be a big movement, it might be a small movement, it might just be your hands and feet or your whole body doing a full body stretch. Doesn't matter. Trust your body. And then on an exhale, let your body come back to stillness. Again, meet yourself where you are. Keep that sense of presence, that what's happening inside here is your best guide. Just notice how your body feels. Notice how you feel inside now. And whenever you're ready, if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open them. So just notice how you feel right now after doing some mindful movement. And so let's dive into this podcast about changing or upgrading your exercise mindset, starting with the B step of the Be Well Now method. This is how we start with presence and kindness, because evidence shows that when we're mindful and self-compassionate, we have the best chance to make health habits stick and get the most out of them for our well-being right away in the present moment, not just when you achieve a goal. So that would be the best outcome of exercising, right? To feel and function better now. Start by asking yourself what you're feeling best about right now. What are you feeling best about in terms of exercise? Maybe it's just what you're thinking about doing or something you've been doing recently, or maybe it's been an experience in the past that really makes you feel good to remember it. Or maybe it's just starting this podcast in an effort to make exercise something that is self-care for you. So what are you feeling best about right now with regards to this topic of exercising? So starting with this positive opens your mind. It begins to start you in the well state rather than the stress state, which is, okay, here's what we're going to do. That might start you in this big should state, the stress state. But starting in the positive and what's going well is a really nice way to support yourself in making lasting healthy habits that support your well-being. So now let's check in on your exercise mindset. What is the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word exercise? What comes to mind? That mindset about exercise can be shaped by our actual experiences that you've had recently or in the past about exercise, with exercising, or it could be vicarious experiences. We are just flooded with information and images about exercising all over the place, wherever you go. Scroll on social media, magazine covers, websites, people you see running on the street. These vicarious experiences also shape our mindset. So what came to mind? It might be a positive experience. Maybe it makes you smile to think about exercise and you can't wait to go move. Or maybe you're walking right now while you're listening to this and it just makes you feel good to do some form of exercise. But maybe it's negative. I meet a lot of people who have had exercise trauma in the past, whether it was somebody making them exercise and forcing them to exercise through pain and fatigue and injury. And that left a kind of traumatic experience for them. And then thinking about exercise becomes very stressful. Or maybe it's just this struggle that you want to exercise, but you have kids or parents you're taking care of, or a busy job, or you don't have equipment, or you have an injury or an illness, and these things that get in the way. And so it might be that exercise is something that you're really wanting to do, but life is getting in the way. And that might make it a negative or a stressful thing to think about. For most people, it's mixed. For most people, it is this thing that you want to do. And maybe you have some good positive ways that you exercise or think about exercise. And there's this struggle with doing it or doing a certain type, like strength exercises or stretching that you know you should. So just take a moment to just kind of notice that mixed bag with exercise, or whether it's leaning more towards the positive or more towards the negative. And are there certain types of exercise that you're struggling with more than others right now, or you're being successful with more than others? Just simply notice. We're not going to do anything with this right now. This B step allows us to just meet ourselves where we are. When we dive into exercising, we are more likely to make it a should. This B step is the whole thing. When you start anything at all with presence, with kindness, you have the best chance for it to go better, to feed your well-being, and to have a lasting impact on your health and impact other people in a positive way. So starting with this presence with kindness. And this is where the kindness piece comes in. If it is a struggle, start by meeting yourself with this sense of, it's okay. I'm going to figure this out. I'm supporting myself. I'm working on this. And just the intention that you want to exercise or want to improve your health and well-being is evidence that you have this innate kindness inside, this drive to thrive that we're all born with. So just acknowledge that wanting is a really important piece of knowing that you're okay, that you are taking care of yourself already, even if you're just thinking about it. So acknowledge that with kindness, acknowledge with compassion that this is a struggle. It's not easy to exercise, and make it part of your lifestyle. So presence with kindness. And I want to just start also this B step with some of the research about mindset and why it's so important to be aware of your mindset. Aaliyah Crum is a well-known mindset researcher. I have linked some of her studies and articles in the show notes. She says the total effect of anything is the combined product of what you are actually doing and what you are thinking about what you're doing. Her research and the research of other mindset experts tell us that how you think about the food you eat and the physical activity you do and the medications you take have a powerful effect on your body. It's powerful enough to change your cholesterol, your blood sugar levels, so things that we can actually measure. And it's powerful enough to change your habits and behaviors. So let's spend a few moments with the facts about exercise. First, just what does it mean to exercise? What does that word mean? The word exercise means to practice. You know what practice means. It means that you do something, you start at the basic level, and you choose what you want to do based on what you want to get from it, right? It has a direct outcome. If you want to play guitar, then you would practice the specific kind of guitar that you want to get better at. You wouldn't practice drums to get better at guitar, right? So it's specific. It's individual. Then everybody's different in terms of how they practice and what works for them. It's gradual. It has a very gradual progression to it. And you start with the foundation. If you miss the foundational pieces, everything else will be harder, guaranteed, if you're practicing something. Those foundational skills are most important. And it's reversible, that we want practice to continue if you want to continue to grow. So exercise works in this way. Those are the principles of exercise training. So asking yourself what you're practicing when you think about exercising, and just kind of notice that. Mindset is so powerful on your whole person because your mind is not just your brain and your thoughts. Your mind and your body and your heart are integrated. There is no separating them, really. What you think directly changes your body. What you think is affected by what you know in your heart, your values. Your body is affected by both of those. The three are intertwined. And this is why mindset research is showing over and over again how powerful how we think about something, but also how we move our body and our reasons for doing it change the outcome. So when these three are in agreement, exercising will not be a struggle. So that's what the Be Well Now method does. So we just did the B step, which is kind of getting this brain-based association with exercise and getting very clear about what it means to exercise, how you're thinking of exercise, what memories have been stored in your brain that are affecting your body with exercising, and just kind of meeting yourself where you are and holding all of that with lots of kindness and compassion. So now that we have that first step, let's go to the well step to turn this into some lasting motivation. So the well step is where we dive into what we know inside, because motivation, the word motivation, means wanting. So what are you wanting right now from exercising? That answer might be obvious. You might say, yeah, well, of course, I want to lose weight. I want to look better. I want to be healthier. I want to live longer. Those are brain-based ways. I'd invite you to drop in, feel your breath, and drop into what you know in your heart area and your intuition, your gut brain, your heart brain and your gut brain. Know your internal motives. And those are the kind that are most lasting, and they're going to be your best guide. If we are in those brain-based ways of exercising, saying, okay, I've got to get 10,000 steps a day and that'll help me lose weight and I'll burn this many calories and I want to bring my cholesterol down to this. Those are all very logical brain ways, but our survival brain listens to our heart brain and our gut brain when life gets stressful. When is exercise most likely to fall by the wayside? when life gets stressful, when you get injured or busy, or you're tired, or you have too many demands, then exercise usually is the first thing to go because we're brain based. So when you bring it down to this heart level of what you really want and you connect exercise with that, you are much more likely to make exercise a resource for self-care when you need it most. So what are you wanting from exercise really? How do you want to feel and function? Think about that for a moment. Imagine yourself, visualize yourself feeling and functioning your best. Maybe you're there now and you just want to maintain that as you age. But for a lot of people, especially the ones that I work with in my Start Well program, most of them have been sidelined by an illness or an injury or a stressful time in life, or just even a positive life change like having a child or getting married. And everything changed in their lifestyle. And then all of a sudden, their habits kind of fell apart. And so update that. Every time something changes, what are you wanting right now? Create this vision for how you will feel and function. What are you doing? How are you feeling? Get really specific about this. If that vision is out of reach, let's break it down into the doable level of what you know you can do now. So meeting yourself where you are with presence and kindness, holding that vision of what you're really wanting for your health and well-being right now, how you want to feel and function. That's the big core why for exercising. So take a little moment, even pause and write it down, create an image, something that you have this visual, this inner guidance that is going to be your roadmap, your blueprint for knowing what to do. And this shapes your exercise mindset. This is when your exercise mindset comes from this inner place rather than an external image of what you're supposed to look like, or, what healthy looks like, or what a fit body looks like. When it comes from this internal image, then it's much more reliable and it's easier to achieve it actually. And so now you're ready for the now step. This is where you move on with confidence. We take all this information and we use it to create a plan to meet yourself where you are so that you're not starting with pain, so that you're starting in the well state. You're starting with confidence or competence, this self-efficacy, this knowing in your body, in your bones, that you can do this plan. So Amy Cuddy, another researcher studying this body-brain connection, says, our bodies change our mind, and our minds change our behavior, and our behavior changes our outcomes. So when we start from this body level, knowing how to move in the way that our body is designed, then exercise feels good right away. It helps you feel and function better right away. The hardest part about this step, about starting at a level that leaves you feeling and functioning better right away, is giving yourself the kindness and the grace to say, I'm not where I want to be. My body can't do what I want to do. It's not doing what it used to be able to do. And that's a hard thing to accept. So staying present and knowing that when you follow those principles and you meet yourself where you are and you gradually progress in a pain-free range at a level that gives you energy, then exercise becomes this resource. And that shapes your mindset about exercise. It's no longer a should, but it starts with knowing how to move your body the way it's designed. I'm linking a video in the show notes so that you can learn those 3 principles for moving well: alignment, core support, and hinging. Those are the 3 basic principles. When you do that with the Be Well Now method, you start with the well state. Exercise has the best chance for feeling the best. And then we want to do a balance of mobility, strength, and stamina. I find where most people get into the weeds with exercising is they start doing too much of one type and then they shy away from another. Most of the time, it's too much cardio, trying to burn a lot of calories, and cardio is kind of the easiest thing to do. And then they end up not stretching and doing strength exercises. And our body really needs a balance of those 3 skills: mobility, strength, and stamina. If you think about that vision that you just had, when you imagine yourself feeling and functioning your best, those movements, what you're doing, likely I would willing to bet 100% that there is an element of mobility to that. There's an element of strength and there's an element of stamina. So when your exercise represents all three in the right balance, then you are ready to start doing those things. You have the mobility, strength, and stamina. So each one is important. One doesn't replace the other. And you can't really do two at the same time. You can get both from one type of exercise. Like if you're doing strength exercises, you'll get a little bit of stamina, but you're not going to get the best stamina. So we want to separate them. And we'll talk more about that in another podcast. And I have some articles that I'll link below in the show notes about that. But organize your mindset about exercise to think about it starting meeting yourself where you are. When you start in a pain-free range, then you're most likely to exercise without pain and exercise in the well state, not the stress state, especially muscle soreness. You never have to be sore, not even at the beginning. So start in a pain-free range, progress at the level that gives you energy and not pain, and do a balance of mobility, strength, and stamina, basing all of your movements on those basic three principles, the principal movements of alignment, core support, and hinging. Okay. So I know we're just talking about this now, but once you start moving in that way, it starts to make sense because it just feels good. So I have some videos I'll link below for that. And the other part of this is being very aware of when typical mindsets are getting in the way. Okay. There's three big mindsets that tend to get in the way. No pain, no gain. If nobody's paying you to exercise, you don't have to push through pain. Okay. No pain, no gain is meant for athletes and military professionals who have to push through pain in order to win or fight a war. Not for you and I who want to be healthy. So no, there is no gain in pain. Pain is a sign something needs to change. The more is better mindset that came from old, outdated information about calorie burning, that the more exercise you do, the more calories you burn. If that leaves you feeling worse, it leaves you in the stress state and you're less likely to lose weight if exercise makes you feel worse. So more is not better, only if it helps you feel and function better. And then the last one is you need someone to motivate you and tell you what to do, which also makes exercising stressful and expensive. Needing someone to push you, needing someone to tell you what to do. When you have this inner knowing and you trust what your body is telling you, exercising is easier and no one has to tell you what to do or make you do it. You just want to. So be aware of those three big exercise mindsets that tend to undo the mindsets that make exercise a sustainable resource for self-care. Okay. So we want to have this ability to move well, mobility, strength, and stamina with a very gradual progression using mindfulness to progress in that way. And then we talked about the specificity of practice, right? We've got to take that vision and break it down into the movements that you want to be able to do. How do you need to be able to move to do things that you envision yourself doing? And like I said, it breaks down into those three categories. But for instance, strength movements, if you're doing those movements of everyday life, then you're most likely to be able to do those movements that you want to be able to do. So we want strength exercises to be very specific to the movements, not necessarily the muscle groups. The media will tell you that you have to work, and even the gym will tell you that you have to work muscle groups, biceps, triceps, quads, hamstrings. That's a bodybuilding way of doing strength exercises. And it doesn't have very good transfer over to everyday life movements. And it doesn't really help the body tolerate everyday life movements better. So we want to do movement-based strength exercises, for example. So that's the specificity of exercise. Okay, so that now step, the way that you start moving, meet yourself where you are at a level that feels good now, even if it's just a little bit, a small bouts many times throughout the day, doing a balance of mobility, strength, and stamina, and mimicking the movements that you want and need to be able to do to live out that vision. This creates an exercise mindset. Your whole person is involved in this mindset. Your body is moving in the way that's important to you. Your heart is informing your body and your brain what's important to you. And your brain is observing your body, listening to it, and then choosing to adjust exercise so you feel and function better now. This is the Be Well Now mindset. This is why the Be Well Now mindset is named that, because when exercise puts you in a state of well-being now, you have the best chance of getting health benefits and you have the best chance of sticking with it. So the bottom line is how you think about exercise changes your body and your outcome. How you move changes how you think about exercise. So start where you are, get clear about where you want to go, and start well, not stressed, but start well. Learn more about how to do this whole person approach to exercise to feel and function better from day one by strengthening your foundation at exercisingwell.com. Thanks for joining. Please share this episode with anyone that you thought of as you listened, and enjoy reshaping your exercise mindset before you start exercising. Have a great day and be well now.